Simon froze when the roaring sound of a private jet echoed across the quiet village of Windmere. It was landing. For him. For a man who had never left town in 30 years, it felt unreal. But everything began on one rainy afternoon in 1995, when 10-year-old Simon had shared his lunch with a hungry beggar by the school gates. What that man whispered back would come full circle in the most unimaginable way. "Hey everyone, welcome to Legacy Tales. Let's get started." Simon had always been quiet, the kind of boy who sat at the back of the classroom, more comfortable with his thoughts than conversations. His family ran a tiny bookshop in the heart of Windmere, a sleepy English village where time moved slowly and everyone knew your name. Life wasn't easy. Money was tight, but his parents had raised him with one rule: never let someone walk away hungry if you can help it. That day in '95, the rain had turned the playground into a muddy swamp. As Simon unwrapped the jam sandwich his mum packed, he noticed a man sitting by the school gate, thin, soaked to the bone, eyes sunken with hunger. No one else noticed him. Or maybe they did, and just didn't care. Simon walked over, clutching his sandwich and an apple. "You can have this," he said shyly. The man looked up slowly, startled. Then he smiled, the kind of smile that felt like it hadn't been used in years. "No one's ever given me anything without wanting something back," the man whispered. "You're different, and one day the world will remember what you did here." Simon didn't understand the weight of those words. He just shrugged and walked back to class. Life went on. The man disappeared by the next morning. Teachers said he'd been picked up by social services. No one really knew. And soon, even Simon forgot about that rainy day. But in the years that followed, life never quite lit up for Simon. His parents passed away. The bookstore barely survived. He stayed in Windmere, clinging to routine and simplicity, never chasing more than what was in front of him. Until today, when that jet landed just past the fields. And a man in a suit stepped out, holding a single envelope. Simon didn't move for a moment. He stood frozen at the edge of the field behind his house, the wind from the jet's engines still stirring the tall grass around him. He rubbed his eyes like a child, half expecting the scene to disappear. But the suited man, now walking toward him with confident steps, was very real. He stopped just a few feet away, handed Simon the envelope and said, "Mr. Whitmore would like a word with you, sir, if you're ready." Simon blinked. "I'm sorry. Whitmore?" The man only smiled, nodding towards the sleek white jet. "Yes, he said you'd remember." Simon opened the envelope with trembling hands. Inside was a letter, handwritten, with a familiar name at the bottom: Thomas Whitmore. The letter began with just 5 words. "You changed my life, Simon." Suddenly, it all came flooding back. The pale man outside the school gates, the soaked clothes, the cracked voice, that jam sandwich. Simon staggered back slightly, gripping the letter as if it held a piece of another world. The rest of the letter told a story Simon could hardly believe. After that rainy afternoon, Thomas had been taken to a shelter by a kind teacher who noticed him later that day. That shelter connected him to a rehabilitation program. He worked odd jobs, cleaned floors, sold newspapers. But something shifted inside him because of that moment. Because of Simon's kindness. "No one's ever given me anything without wanting something back." That sentence had echoed in Thomas's mind like a vow he needed to repay. Years passed. Thomas built a small logistics company, then a larger one. Eventually, he broke into global trade. Now, Thomas Whitmore was the CEO of one of Britain's most successful shipping empires. But through all of it, he never forgot the boy in the schoolyard. Simon stared at the letter for what felt like hours, though it was barely a few minutes. The man in the suit cleared his throat softly. "Mr. Whitmore would like to fly you to London. He's hosting a private gala in your honor. And that's not all. He's prepared something else." Simon looked up. "Why me?" "I didn't do anything special. I just shared a sandwich." The man smiled warmly. That was all it took. Sometimes the smallest act becomes the turning point in someone's life. Simon's voice cracked. "I never left this village. I've been here all my life." "Well," the man chuckled, "perhaps it's time the world came to you." They boarded the jet, and as Simon looked out the window at Windmere disappearing below, his heart raced. Not from fear, but from the overwhelming feeling that somehow, something he did as a child had grown into something massive, something life-changing. And he wasn't done learning how far that kindness had traveled. 3 weeks later, Simon stood at the entrance of the Royal Hall in London, barely recognizing the reflection staring back at him. He wore a tailored navy blue suit, shoes polished to a mirror finish, and a warmth in his chest he hadn't felt in years. The gala was in full swing. Chandeliers glittered above, violins played softly, and waiters moved like dancers, carrying trays of wine and hors d'oeuvres. But Simon wasn't here for the glamour. He was here because someone hadn't forgotten. Then, through the crowd, Thomas appeared. Older now, powerful looking, but his eyes still carried that boyish gratitude. They hugged like brothers reuniting after a lifetime. "You kept me alive," Thomas whispered. "That sandwich? That moment? It reminded me that I mattered." Simon smiled, trying to hold back tears. "You did matter. You still do." Thomas turned and clapped his hands. "Ladies and gentlemen, tonight is not about business or wealth. It's about a man who gave without asking, a man who reminded me, in the worst time of my life, what it means to be seen." He pointed to a large covered easel beside him. With one pull, the cloth dropped, revealing a painted plaque that read, "The Whitmore Foundation for Kindness, inspired by Simon Hayes." Gasps filled the room. Cameras flashed. Simon's jaw dropped. "This foundation," Thomas continued, "will feed and educate thousands of homeless children across the UK, all because one boy gave up his lunch without expecting anything back." Simon stood stunned. Applause erupted around him, but all he could see was a vision of his younger self, standing by the school gate, sharing half a sandwich with a boy who looked invisible to the world, a boy who was now changing it. As the gala ended, Simon stepped outside into the London night. A young boy approached him with his parents, holding a program with Simon's face on it. "Are you the man who gave the sandwich?" the boy asked innocently. Simon smiled, kneeling. "Yes, but more importantly, I'm someone who believes kindness always finds its way back." If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more inspiring true stories. Because sometimes the smallest act of kindness echoes across decades. What you give in silence may come back like thunder.